It's time for another board recap podcast on this beautiful November day. How are you today, Dr. Smith?
It's a great day, and it's also, I think, what this country is all about. Voters get
That's
the
correct.
opportunity to make their choice known. So I hope everyone has gotten out and exercised their constitutional right.
Totally agreed. Weather's no excuse for not getting out and voting today. That's
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
actually not just a right, but also a responsibility.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Let's dive, if you will, into last night's school board meeting. And as
Excellent.
always, we can start with good news. So we lifted the fact that one of our local radio stations, I've actually worked with them on a monthly basis as well. They're a good friend of the EVSC 99.5 WKDQ as a country station. And they have started doing for some time now a Teacher of the Month. And Abby Bell Studeville from Bossy High School, one of their teachers, was selected. She's a math teacher at Bossy as the October Teacher of the Month. So we're proud of her and appreciative to WKDQ.
Yes, we are on both counts.
Southern Indiana Career and Tech Center out on Lynch Road hosted their annual college and career fair. And boy, this is always a huge event. I think they had about 135 different colleges and companies there. Over 800 students got to just go from table to table and have conversations, ask questions, and what a great learning opportunity for those students.
I tell you, I was blessed to be able to go out and attend that. Just a wide variety of opportunities that await our students, and to top it all off, I was able to eat at the lunchbox, and
Okay. What was
rumor
on the
has it
menu
that
that day?
lasagna, and it
Okay.
was incredible. And rumor has it that that is Chef Sam's mother's lasagna recipe.
Is that right? Wow, that's impressive, and boy, the turnout for that restaurant is, continuing to grow by the week from what
As
I
it
hear.
should. It's just an incredible community asset.
Yeah, glad you got to see the career fair and glad you got to enjoy some good lasagna, Dr.
You
Smith.
bet.
So, lately or recently, we had Choir Palooza. I love that name. It's when our EVSC choir students participated in this event. It's with another great partner of ours, the University of Evansville. They got to spend the day on campus doing all kinds of singing activities, but really it's a learning experience because they're working with guest clinicians. And I know you have a lot of experience with that in the music world, but that's a great learning opportunity for kids,
Certainly
isn't it?
is. We are blessed to have incredible choral directors at all levels in our schools, but to have the opportunity to have them go just a short distance away and to get yet another great opinion and to work with outstanding guest clinicians is just an added bonus for our students and, frankly, for our directors.
It's all about learning experiences.
You
So
bet.
happy we were able to put that together. And let's finish on something that's certainly exciting, near and dear to your heart from your past experiences, Dr. Smith, and that is two of our marching bands qualified for state finals this year. Let's start with the Wrights High School Mighty Marching Panthers. They made it to state for the second consecutive year, and they placed ninth. So they certainly had a great year. Definitely proud of them.
Yes, sir.
And then last but not least, and we were able to have them come down, some of the members last night to the board meeting, the North High School Green Brigade. That's their marching band. They not only qualified for state, they came home with a championship, finished first place. That is the first time that's happened in one of our local schools here in the EVSC. And their director came down with his staff, with some of the senior members of the band. They had their trophies and the principal, John Skinner. And boy, are we proud of the Green Brigade.
You bet. As I said at the board meeting, I personally know how hard it is to get a group into state finals. Takes a lot of hard work and dedication, not just from students and staff, but also from parents,
Oh, goodness, yes.
as well as all of the high school community. And I tell you, Noah Farmer, and I was blessed to be able to hear what he said to the band members. You can see in the
Mm,
picture if you're able to
right.
watch the podcast. The marching band as they were assembled there after they learned that they were state champions and were gathering everything to go back home. Just his comments, I think, made me incredibly proud to be part of an organization that stresses great values for kids.
Definitely.
Just an incredible opportunity, and I don't think it will be the last time they grace state finals.
No, I think you're right. And all these students we're talking about, and if you're looking at the screen that you're seeing, they will remember this many, many, many years from now that they came home with a state
You
championship.
bet.
So that is fantastic. So that takes care of good news from last night. If you would please take us through consent items.
Certainly will. So let's start with item 3.02, consideration of allowance of payments totaling $11,061,653.53. So that's pretty typical for this time of year. It includes basically one payroll. Um, and as I said, that's a pretty typical amount now for us. Item 3.04, I'm sorry, 3.03, consideration to approve the purchase of items from extracurricular accounts. So we have two things there. Evans Pre-K used some of their ESSER money for early childhood to install cameras, and then they were a little short, so they were taking money out of early childhood ECA account. And then West Terrace is actually replacing a washer and dryer that the PTA installed years ago. Moving on to item 3.04, consideration to approve the renewal agreement with T-Mobile for mobile hotspots. So think frequent listeners will know that during the pandemic, we utilized a lot of hotspots for
A
our
lot.
students as
Yes.
well as our staff who did not have access to good, stable internet in their homes. So, after a thorough analysis, we think now that we can utilize basically 100 of the T Mobile hotspots. So, this is a contract for that amount. Moving on to 3.05, consideration to approve the reinsurance renewal. So I think frequent listeners will know that we are self insured for health
Mhm.
insurance purposes. This is, though, a reinsurance, which basically means that EVSC is responsible for the first $325,000 should someone need health care in, in the amount that costs that. So
Mhm.
we're responsible for the first $325,000 per insured individual. Anything beyond that then would be picked up by this reinsurance agreement.
Really kind of protects us in a self-insurance setting as a
It
corporation.
does. And we have a great partner in Epic Insurance, and they, along with Anthem, have helped us negotiate a good price for that. Moving on to 3.06, consideration to approve commemorative, yes, easy for someone else to say, commemorative, yeah, go ahead,
Commemorative. It's
commemorative.
a naming
Oh my gosh,
opportunity. How about that?
commemorative, yeah. It's almost easier to say that than the recipient of this, who is the Honorable Mayor Lloyd
I know
Winkie.
you were pleased to share this last night.
Certainly was. The mayor has been a phenomenal supporter, not only for the entire city, but also for EVSC, being a proud graduate of Tompkins as well as Central High School. And while he was a student at Central High School, performed on that stage in that auditorium at Central High School numerous times. So I think it really is appropriate to name the auditorium after Lloyd Winnicke. So from this day forward, it will be known as the Lloyd Winnicke Auditorium at Central High School.
And I echo your comments as well. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's a great honoring for Mayor Winnicke, but it's also a thing of inspiration for our Central High School students. You said this the other day that they can walk through there, see that, and know that a student at one time that was gracing those halls just like they are now went on to such success in his career and leading the city of Evansville multiple terms as mayor. And there's nothing they can't accomplish either. So it's really fitting for both.
And I appreciate you saying that because that is 50% of the reason why we want to make certain that we name some of the attributes that we have in our schools after individuals to motivate and to encourage students and let them know that they too can accomplish great things. I think of Chuck Bundrent and Bundrent
Absolutely.
Stadium, and geez, what an incredible individual
Yes.
Chuck was. And I do know from having conversations with students at North that now they are inspired to do more than they think that even they can do. It's just a great
Just a
opportunity.
win-win, really.
You bet.
But you're right. Great friend to the EVSC and Mayor Winnicke.
You bet. Item 3.07, consideration to reappoint the EVSC representatives to the EVPL Library Board as well as the Area Plan Commission, and those were approved last night. Item 3.08, consideration to approve the consultant agreement with Amy P. Walker. Very excited about this. I think folks will know that we combined Public Education Foundation along with the EVSC Foundation. And Amy is coming back. She was, I think, the executive director of PEF for
I
25
think you're
plus
right.
years.
Yes.
did an incredible job with the Public Education Foundation. So she's going to work in the capacity of a consultant here for a brief period of time to really help both groups merge together and to really take us to the next level. And then when we go into personnel items, 4.01, the recommendations, pleased to announce that Melanie Atwood has accepted and the board approved at the board meeting for Melanie to be the Chief Advancement Officer for EVSC. So, among her many duties, she will also serve in the capacity of president of the EVSC Foundation. So, when we put Amy Walker together with Melanie Atwood, that's going to be a pretty, pretty strong
Yeah,
team.
looking forward to
Yes,
seeing them because I know that their dedication will be really reaching out members of the community. And just I love when I hear people like this saying they want to find people's passions and how they can marry that
right.
with the supports for our students and
Yeah,
programs. It's really
yeah.
exciting.
Both individuals have just stellar um,
Experiences, knowledge. I think they have the passion to take this work
right.
forward.
Clearly. So just so very, very excited about them working together and working on behalf of EVSC.
Certainly. And then, and as you always say, the rest of the personnel items are there if you're interested in seeing those. And then action items. We had one last night.
5.01, the public meeting regarding the tentative collective bargaining agreement with the Evansville Teachers Association. So, as required by law, EVSC has to have a public meeting to discuss the tentative collective bargaining agreement. So, that's what we did last night. The red line copy of this contract is posted on the EVSC website, evscschools.com, for the public to peruse that. And I just went over the highlights of the contract. I think two things I would like to list. Number one is in this 2 years of the contract, teachers will receive $6,000 in additional compensation for their base salary. We think that's very, very important. And then when you look back 2 years previous to this tentative agreement, then that will mean that at a minimum, every teacher that's been with us for that period of time will have an $11,000 increase, which I think is frankly unheard of.
Yeah.
But we are very, very pleased to be able to offer that to our outstanding teachers. And then additionally, in the second year of the contract, beginning teacher salary will go up to $46,000. We want to continue to raise that so that we can attract the best and brightest.
Absolutely. And I know it's always a good feeling to see all these hours of work come together, whether you're talking about our non teach groups, which we've already talked about that in
Right.
previous podcast, or now the teachers. So it's a good feeling to make it to this point to the
Absolutely.
process.
And then finally, information item 6.01, consideration to adopt a new policy, 5335, which is the Generative Artificial Intelligence Programs, also known affectionately as AI. So this is the EVSC's proposed policy for AI and how we will deal with that. And I'm also pleased to say that this is a collaborative effort from a group of teachers and administrators that we have working on AI and the best use of AI, and as well as protecting um, the student work to make certain that they are actually doing the work and that their work is not generated by AI.
That
But
would not be a good thing.
would not be a good thing, but as technology continues to advance, plagiarism has always been a concern. So we don't want to deny our students the opportunity to work with AI and benefit from the great advantages that AI can offer. So we want to make certain that we're taking a balanced approach. And as I started to say, I'm really pleased with the work of our folks because now this has been the policy that the School Board Association is really adopting throughout the state.
And I think it was you that said, Dr. Smith, that, it's almost like looking back in the past when the internet was a new thing and
Right.
we knew to harness the power of that could be such a great advantage in the world of learning. Could also be used in ways it shouldn't be used. And so there's a lot of teachable moments there to make sure you're using it for the betterment of learning. And I think that's where we're at with artificial intelligence.
You bet. You
Okay.
bet.
And that takes us through last night's meeting. So, a lot of things to celebrate, a lot of information to cover. Appreciate you taking the time to go through this with us today.
Certainly my pleasure. Thanks for listening.